Good afternoon. Welcome. We're going to get started. So let's find just a seated position is perfect. So just sitting up nice and tall, crossing those legs, maybe elevating those hips onto something, especially if those hips are feeling a little bit tighter today. It kind of helps them to soften down. It helps your knees to soften down if your hips are a little bit more elevated. Okay. Now, we're going to see those hands on the knees. Let's take a big breath in through the nose and out through the nose. 2 more times, just like that. Big breath in and exhale. Big breath, inhale and exhale. A little more forceful, pressing all that air out. Again, now we'll take that big breath in. It's going to be a little bit more forceful inhale this time as well. So really big breath in, hold that breath in, and then press that breath out. Good. Continuing that rhythm, hearing that sound of the breath on the inhale and on that exhale. More active breath. Let's inhale, reach those arms up overhead, reach up nice and tall. On that exhale, we'll twist it over to that right side. So we're sitting really tall on that inhale. Exhale, finding that deeper twist. Inhale, bring it back to center, reach those arms up. And exhale, twist it to that other side. And inhale, reaching those arms up. Then exhale, just lower those hands down, nice flat back, reaching those arms as far forward as your hips are allowing. And let's walk the hands over to that left knee. And let's go over to that right knee. And bring those hands back to center. Pause it for a breath. Maybe walk those hands out a little bit further. And then we'll walk those hands back, switching that across the legs. Inhale, reaching those arms up. Exhale, let's twist it over to that right side. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale it over to that left side. Inhale, reach it up. And then we'll lower those hands down. Let's walk the hands over to the right side to start. And we'll go center. We'll go over to that left side. And then back to center. Pause it here. And let's walk those hands back. Let's come on to those hands and knees. A few cat-cows here. So on that inhale, let's drop that belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone as we look up. And exhale, we'll round that spine, press the shoulder blades away, draw that belly up and in. And inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone, look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, round. Bring it to neutral. Let's step those feet back to a plank. Let's hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sending those hips up to the sky. Downward facing dog. And so maybe pedaling out those feet. So bend one knee, pressing that opposite heel down to the mat. Hold for a breath or 2, and then switch sides. Big stretch through those calves, through the ankles, maybe the hamstrings. And then inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, stepping those feet up top of the mat. Sliding the hands to the shins or maybe up to the knees, find that half. Lift, exhale, slide those hands down as we fold. Bend into those knees, flatten out the head back, reaching those arms up overhead. And exhale, slide that right hand down as that left arm reaches up and over. Inhale, bring it back up, and exhale it to the other side. Inhale, reach it back up. And exhale, nice flat back, fold it forward. Inhale, find that half lift. Exhale, let's plant those hands down, stepping those feet back to our plank. Shift that weight forward. We're gonna add in that push-up. So if you need to lower onto the knees for the first one, you can. Lower, lower, lower. Shoulders high to the elbows. Press it back up. And now we'll lower all the way down. Point those toes, lifting that chest up into that cobra, or maybe that upward facing dog. Then exhale, setting those hips up and back, down dog. We'll come inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, step or hop those feet, top of the mat. Half lift on that inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to standing, reach it up tall. Exhale, side bend over to the right. Inhale, reach it back up. Exhale, side bend over to the left. Inhale, reach it back up. And with that flat back, fold it forward. Inhale, find the half lift. Exhale, plant those hands, step those feet back to plank, push up. And then vinyasa. Exhaling, hips to the sky, down dog. Another breath here. Then we'll inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, separate, hop those feet, top of the mat. Half lift on that inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to standing. Reach it tall, then side bend to the right. Inhale it up. Side bend it to the left. Inhale, reach it back up. Flat back as we fold. Half lift on the inhale. Exhale, plant the hands, step those feet back right into that push-up. And then vinyasa. Exhaling those hips to the sky, downward facing dog. And then inhale on the toes. Rounding that spine, roll it forward to our plank. Let's drop the heels to the right. Left arm reaches up, side plank. Bring it back to center. Heels will come to the left. Right arm reaches up. Bring it back to center. Rounding through the upper back, mid back, low back, hips high. Downward facing dog. Okay, let's do it 2 more times. Roll it forward to our front plank. Side plank to the right. Front to the left. Front. Round that spine. Bring it back to our downward facing dog. Last time. Roll it forward to our plank. Side plank to the right. Front plank to the left. Front plank. And then round that spine, roll it on back, downward facing dog. Then we'll come onto the toes, bend those knees, maybe popping those feet out a little bit wider. Bring the toes out, heels, and sink those hips down into that squat. Hands will come to heart center. Knees are driving out wide. Maybe those hips sink down a little bit lower. And if you want to play around here, hands down towards the ground. Let's come into that crow pose. So bringing those knees up high, almost all the way up into those armpits. These are not the best pants for this. Here we go. I'm still gonna slide here, so maybe I won't do this. Yeah, so we want to shift that weight forward, looking for it. Those legs or those feet will lift, and then you can slide it back or hop it back into that plank. Vinyasa. And exhaling those hips to the sky, down dog. And now bring those feet together. Inhale, that right leg lifts. Exhale, curl that knee to the nose. Inhale it back up. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it up. And curl that knee and stepping that right foot through, twisting. Right arm reaches up. Now lower that hand down. We're going to travel to that long edge of the mat. Side lunge into that left knee. Now we're going to bring it back to that front lunge. Knee's going to stay lifted. Okay, finding some balance here. All that weight's going to go onto that right foot. Reaching that left leg up and then twist. Reaching the right arm up. So left leg is up, right arm is up. One more breath. Lower that hand down, step the leg, step the foot, the right leg back. Vinyasa. And down dog. Feet together, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, curl that knee to the nose. Inhale it up. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it up. Curl that knee and step that foot through. Again, twisting. Left arm reaches up. Lower that hand down. Travel to long edge of your mat, lunging into that right knee. Side lunge. Then we'll bring it back to the front into that lunge. Left leg is forward. Okay, lifting that right leg up, finding that balance, and then twisting, reaching that left leg up. Lower both hands down, right foot steps back, left foot steps back. Vinyasa. And exhale, downward facing dog. And again, inhale on the toes. Let's round it forward, coming forward to that front plank. Let's go side plank over to the right side. Maybe you lift that left leg up this time, make it a little bit more challenging. Then hold for another breath. And then go front plank, then heels to the left. Right arm, maybe that right leg lifts. And lower. Both hands, both legs down. Rounding that spine, rolling it back up into that down dog. Now we'll come high onto the toes. Bend those knees. We hop those feet behind those hands. Come right into that squat. So wherever your lowest point is, let's lift up maybe like an inch or two higher than that. So we got to use those legs a little bit more. We're not just collapsing into it. Now if you want to play around with that crow, lowering those hands down, knees come up to those armpits, shift that weight forward, and maybe hopping those feet back to our plank. Vinyasa. Feet together. Inhale. Right leg lifts. Exhale, curl that knee to the nose. Inhale it back up. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, curl it in. Step that foot through. Twisting right arm reaches up. Lower the hand down. Side lunge over to that left side. Try and lift those hands up. Hands to heart center, make it a little more challenging. And then we'll walk it back to the front. This time we'll go right into that warrior three. So lifting that left leg up, twisting, right arm reaches up. Hands down, step back to plank, vinyasa. Exhale it to down dog. Feet together, left leg lifts. Curl that knee to the nose. Inhale it up. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, curl it in. Step that foot through. Twisting, left arm reaches up. Lower the hands down. Walking those hands over to that right side, side lunge. And bring it back to that lunge, lifting that right leg up, twisting, left arm reaches up. Lower the hands. Step those feet back. Vinyasa. Exhaling it. Downward facing dog. Then we're going to come onto those toes, rounding that spine. We're going to roll it forward to our plank. Side plank to the right. Left arm reaches up. Left foot reaches up. Now here, let's try and add in that little twist. Now, if you need to lower that foot down, go for it. Twist, twist, twist. Reach. Bring it back up. Ooh. And then front plank, other side. Lifting that right arm, right leg. Thread it through. Big twist. Inhale, bring it back up. Lower those hands down. Round that spine. Roll it up. Downward facing dog. And we can lower those knees down, toes together. Hips. Send back to those heels. Now this time, let's flip those palms up. So maybe if you feel a stretch, kind of through the lats, through the shoulders here, maybe you stay here. If you want to take a little bit further, just bend those elbows. Patting yourself on the back. Maybe walking those elbows for a little bit more. Soften that chest down. And then we'll extend those arms back out. Let's roll it back up. Hands and knees. Step it back to plank. Down dog. Feet together. Inhale. Left or right leg. Right leg lifts. Exhale, curl it and pause. Inhale it back up. Exhale, curl it and pause. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, curl it and pause. Step that foot through. And same thing. Find that twist. Right arm reaches up. Lower the hands down. Side lunge over to that left side. Now we'll bring it back to center, twisting. So try and do it at the same time, unlike I just did. So we'll lift that left leg, right arm will lift. Now bring both hands to heart center. So both legs, or both arms, both hands are gonna lift off the ground. Find that balance. A lot of core, a lot of leg strength to that right leg. Curl that knee into the chest. Extend the leg out. Cross that ankle over. Sink those hips down into that figure four chair. Inhale, we're gonna rise up. Take a big step back into a lunge. That back heel is gonna be lifted. Right hip comes down and back, left hip pulls forward. Reaching those arms up, core is tight. A little deeper bend into that front knee. And then that back heel will spin down, teeing out those arms into that warrior two. Scoop that tailbone down, core is tight, reaching through those arms. Open up through that chest. Then we'll flip that front palm, reach it up and back, keeping that front knee bent. Now, half moon balance. So re-tee out those arms, reaching that right hand forward, lower it down a couple of inches in front of that left foot, and then we'll float that. Left leg up, left arm up. And maybe we reach up so much with that left hand that that right hand starts to lift. Now let's take that big step back into our warrior two. Straighten that front leg, reach it forward first. Hand lowers down, so into our triangle as we reach that left arm up. And we'll spin those hands down towards the mat. Step it back to our plank, vinyasa. And exhaling those hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Feet together. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, curl that knee to the nose. Pause. Inhale, send it back up. Exhale, curl it in, pause. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, curl it in, pause. Step that foot through, twisting, left arm reaches up. Lower the hand down. Travel to the long edge of the mat, lunging into that right knee. Bring it back to center. One motion, if you can. We're gonna lift the left. Nope, we're gonna lift the right arm. Right leg, left arm, there we go. One day I'll figure out my rights and my lefts. There we go, reach. Now, bring both hands to heart center. Finding that balance. And we're gonna rise up, bringing that knee to the chest. Then we'll extend that leg out. Then we'll cross that ankle over, right ankle over that left thigh. Sink those hips down. And inhale, we're gonna rise up. Big step back into that lunge. So right heel is lifted, core is tight, arms are reaching up. Sink into that front knee a little more. Relaxing those shoulders. Let's spin that back heel down, teeing out those arms into that warrior two, gazing out towards that left hand. And into that front knee a little bit more. And then we'll flip that left palm, reach it up and back. So that right hand slides down that back leg. And then we'll re-tee out those arms, half moon bounce. So reach that left hand forward, or down a couple inches in front of that left foot. And then that right leg will lift, right arm is gonna lift, press through that heel, reaching through that right hand. Again, maybe you can start to lift that left hand off of the mat. Big step back, warrior two. Then we'll straighten that front leg. So not locked out, slight bend. Reach it forward, lower that hand down. Inside that ankle, reaching that right arm up. Let's spin that hand all the way down. Stepping it back to our plank and vinyasa. Exhaling those hips to the sky, downward facing dog. And now we're gonna inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, stepping those feet, top of the mat. Half lift on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Bend into those knees. Let's rise up to standing. Hands will come to heart center. We're gonna take a big step open. Well, I'm gonna start with opening up with my right foot, but at some point I'm gonna turn around, give you a little hint. Well, you might need the wall. I'm gonna use the wall. So hinge it from the hips. We'll find that big stretch through those hamstrings. Flat back on that inhale. Exhale, fold. Walking those hands back a little bit more. Try and get to a place where you can firmly press those palms into the mat. And lengthen through that spine a little more. And then walk those hands back a little more. Bending those knees as much as you need to. Maybe give a little bit of flexion through these muscles here. Gives you a little bit more of a stretch through those hamstrings. Another breath. Then slight bend into those knees. Let's rise back up, interlacing those fingers behind the back. Open up through that chest. And then again, we'll fold. Reaching those knuckles back. Shoulders away from the ears. And release those hands down. And bend into those knees. Rise on up. You can reach those arms out. And then we'll fold. So pointer, middle finger, gonna reach for that big toe. You can find that flat back. You can kind of grab onto those toes. Elbows will come a little bit wider. Just pulling that belly between those legs. Now release those toes. So now, if you want to play around with the headstand, find yourself a wall. If you want your mat right up against the wall. Okay, now depending on your mobility, your feet can come away from the wall. I don't know if you guys can see my mat, but it's wedged up against the wall, but I'll start with my feet kind of almost off of the mat. I'm gonna go really, really wide. It's the best for you guys to see this. So I'm gonna make a triangle with my head in my hands. Okay, so this is what it's gonna look like upside down. So I'm gonna have my elbows stacked right in my wrist. It's not gonna be bowed out like this. It's gonna be not lots of 90 degree, 90 degree, 90 degree here. Okay, this is what this is gonna look like. Head and hands are making a triangle. Okay, so you're gonna go really, really wide with those feet, wide enough so you can plant those hands down, and then you can get your head onto the ground into that position. Okay, then from there, come up onto those toes, okay, and then maybe press, lift, lift up into that handstand. I would try not to kick in this one, especially in that really wide position. Hold it here, core is tight, and then we'll come out of it the exact same way. So feet go wide, hinge, slowly lower those feet down. If you want to stay up there a little bit longer, you can. Yeah, but otherwise, make your way out of it, and then we'll just meet in a child's pose. So if you want to play around a little bit longer, or if you want to hang out in a child's pose, that is completely up to you. I know on that one, I personally like a little more cushion with my head, so if you want to grab a little extra blanket, you can play around with it. Okay, or maybe you hang child's pose. Another option is to go a little bit wider with your feet in your forward fold. So if you want a little bit more active stretch here, and then just work on pulling those hands back, bringing that head a little bit closer to the ground. A couple things you can work on here. Use this as kind of your free time. To work on kind of whatever you want. Let's give it maybe like 5 more breaths wherever you're at. And now let's meet in a vinyasa, and then we'll meet together in a down dog. So let's bring that right knee to the right wrist, foot slides across. So coming into our pigeon. So again, pressing that right shin down and back. Left knee presses down and forward. So you lower the forearms down, resting that head down onto the hands or maybe all the way onto the ground. We'll slowly come onto those hands. We'll switch sides. Let's meet down dog first. Couple breaths here. And we'll go the other side. So that left knee comes that left wrist. Foot comes across. Slide that right leg back. And lower down. Resting the head. And left shin back, right knee forward. Let's come back to those hands. Send it back to our down dog. Let's go into that frog pose. So we will recharge. You get to do this again, twice in one day, yay. Go ahead and slide those knees out as wide as you can. Now up to you if you bring the feet out. So the toes are pointing in different directions, or if you want to angle the toes back, that is fine too. Wherever you feel like you're getting the most effective stretch. Okay, so for me personally, if I have my feet out here, it's so big of a stretch that I really don't feel like I can be in the position properly to even get the most effective stretch. So that's why I like to turn my toes in. So really no right or wrong way to do this. Wherever you feel like you're getting a really good stretch, no pain in the knees, anything like that, then you're doing it right. Now, I know the floor kind of causes a little bit of pain sometimes, so if you're going to take the edges of your mat and fold it in so you've got a double layer of cushion, you can always have that option as well. Another couple breaths. And let's slowly make our way out of it. Come onto our backs. Taking your time. Let's go into a hip bridge. We're having that big flexion. Sometimes feels good to extend out through those hips. So keep that core tight, scooping that tailbone up. Keep those sides nice and parallel to each other. And slowly roll it back down. Hug that right knee into the chest. Left leg extends out long. And then with that left hand, guide that knee across. Your right arm will reach out. Bring that knee back to center. And then switch sides. Left knee hugs in, right leg reaches out. And then we'll twist that knee across. And bring that knee back to center. Hug both knees into the chest. Rounding that spine, bringing the forehead to the knees. Then we'll extend the legs out, reach those arms overhead. Full body stretch, fingertips all the way down through those toes. And exhaling those arms down by the sides, palms will face up. Shoulder blades will walk together. And take that big breath in. And exhale, side out. Just let yourself completely relax. Give yourself rest for these next few minutes. Begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle those fingers, those toes. Those arms overhead. Full body stretch from the fingertips all the way down through the toes. Drawing those knees into the chest. Just gently roll over onto that right side. Let the runner support your head left and just falls in front. Rest here for a couple breaths. And gently press yourself into that seat. Eyes remain closed, sitting tall. Those eyes open. Thank you all so much for joining me. Have a great evening. And we have class tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So hope to see you guys there. Otherwise, have a good one.